Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. RonMan here as always. Do you know how sometimes when you play video games, you just stop playing video games for one reason or another? Well, today I want to take a look at some Super Nintendo games that I gave up on. So the idea for this video has been on my to-do list for quite a while now. When I first started brainstorming which games I would add to this video, I originally included the 7th Saga. As some of you may be aware, I have since beaten this game, reviewed it, and is no longer considered a game I gave up on. If you're interested in that review, please check it out, and if you like my content, please consider subscribing as it really does help me out. The games in this video are not necessarily bad games, they're just games that I gave up on for one reason or another. I'll include the reasons why as we go through the list, but also just because I've given up on them now doesn't mean that I'll never return to them. The 7th Saga is a good example. Also, these are not just shitty games that nobody cares about, these are games that I actually wanted to get into and beat at some point in time. Please keep in mind that because I haven't beaten these games, nor have even spent that much time with them, I might not represent them properly. I'm not reviewing anything in this video, at least not in any in-depth way. There may be information that I'm not aware of, like certain game mechanics or anything really to make the game easier to get into. If you have any tips for me for any of these games, please leave them down in the comments below. And with that being said, the first game is Secret of Evermore. The Secret of Evermore has a slight resemblance to the Secret of Mana, the attack meter, and the ring menu, for example, but it plays a bit differently. You don't have magic, instead you have alchemy. Alchemy is cumbersome and tedious. You need to collect certain ingredients to cast certain spells, and of course when you use ingredients, you'll have to collect more as they're consumable. The layouts of the dungeons are confusing at worst and boring at best. I would like to beat this game, but I just found it to be more of a chore than an enjoyable experience. The next game is Dungeon Master. I like the 3D dungeon crawler genre, at least I want to like it. The only game I've beaten in this genre is Shining in the Darkness for the Sega Genesis, and even that game had some issues. I like the idea of Dungeon Master, and I would love to get into it, and I've tried many times, but I just can't do it. No matter how hard I try, I always get bored and just shut it off. Basic actions seem like a chore, including just moving around and picking things up. This game may be ahead of its time, and the reason I say maybe is because I haven't played enough to really say. You can pick your own party out of roughly a dozen characters, and there are even some non-human characters that you can pick, so that's pretty cool. You have to monitor your hunger and thirst levels and make sure to eat and drink. I've never made it very far, but from what I can tell, I don't love the look of the monsters. Another problem with first-person dungeon crawlers is that you can get really sick of the environments. Every floor and hallway looks the same. Again, I love the idea of this game, I just have a really hard time sticking with it. This game just kind of seems like a bit of a chore. Maybe I'm just too impatient. Okay, now sticking with the first-person dungeon crawler genre, we have Wizardry 5. I bought this game years ago for like $8. I remember my mom playing this when I was young, and she had to use graph paper to map out the labyrinth, and I thought that was so cool. Well, it is cool, until you have to do it yourself. Or you can just look up a map. Now, a lot of my problems with Dungeon Master are the same for Wizardry 5, but I feel like Wizardry is worse, except the monsters look way better. Starting a new game is confusing. Like, what the heck am I supposed to do here? Where am I? Everything just seems like a hassle. Just like in Dungeon Master, the labyrinth here is boring to look at. I think the reason I can't stick to this is because it's just not exciting enough and I have no idea what to do. Of course, I could look up a guide, but even that seems like too much of a hassle. Next up is Paladins Quest. Paladins Quest is a game that my next door neighbor talked about all the time when I was growing up. He got me into all kinds of really good games like Final Fantasy 2 and 3, Secret of Mana, and Chrono Trigger. So because of this, I've always had a desire to play Paladins Quest. Paladins Quest, however, is a game that no matter how hard I try, I just can't stick with it. The graphics are not bad, but I don't think I dig them. I don't like how casting spells costs HP. What the fuck is that about? Even just the layout of battles kinda throws me off. From what I can tell though, Paladins Quest has pretty good music, but I don't know, I just think this game is a little too, I don't know, different for me to really be into. Up next, we have Battletoads and Battle Maniacs. Now, I actually reviewed this game a while back, and in case you didn't see my review, I am not a huge fan. I really like beat 'em ups, and Battletoads and Battle Maniacs does a really good job at making you think that this is a beat 'em up. Once it ropes you in with the fun opening stage, it punishes you with an onslaught of auto-scrolling stages. The rest of this game, by and large, is just auto-scrolling levels. Like, how fun is that? Where do I sign up? These levels are just not fun, and you learn the game by trial and error, and you don't have unlimited continues. It's a really bad mix of programming choices that ultimately make a lousy experience. Overall, I just don't find this game worth playing, and that's why I gave up on it. If you're interested in hearing more about this game, please check out my review. I'll have it linked down below. And the last game on the list is Contra III: The Alien Wars. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like this game, but I might be the worst Contra player in the world. Believe it or not, but I never grew up playing any Contra game. None. Not Contra, Super C, Contra 3, nothing. I never played any Contra game at all growing up. In fact, I don't even think I even heard of Contra until I was an adult. Every now and again, I'll pop in Contra 3, play it a little bit, have fun, but once I get a game over, I just move on to a different game. I think not having nostalgia for Contra 3 really makes it so I don't stick with it. Like, I play it, again, I have fun, but I don't have anything inside me that keeps me wanting to play Contra. I'll play it a bit, and then I move on really quickly, and I really don't think much about it, and I don't think I'll ever beat this game. So there's the list, guys. Those are some games that at this point I have given up on. Please let me know down below what games you've given up on, and if I were to go back and play one of these 6 games, which would you recommend? Guys, again, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next time.